and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about tarot cards today. As you all know, because I've said in pretty much every single video that I've done, I'm at a transitional period in my life where I'm finishing school and kind of figuring out what I'm going to do after, so I've really been leaning on my tarot cards to kind of like guide me in a direction that's like helpful and that I can't really like figure out just by myself. So before we get into it, I know a lot of you may be thinking, wow, tarot cards, what a load of complete garbage. And to that I say, I know that you all love astrology. We're all astrology queens these days. So why are we putting down one sort of internal journey with another? So I have been doing tarot for about 6 years now. So I'm pretty comfortable with my own deck, with my own readings, with my own kind of knowledge towards it. But I thought this would be like a cool video if I read my own tarot cards right now for you, while also kind of giving you a lesson on how to confidently do it, so you can see tarot as not reading your future and going to like some crazy con artist in the downtown core, but kind of using it as more like a self-help kind of practice that kind of opens up your mind to other ways of thinking, which is really what it's used for. So before we begin, I'm going to be using the kind of standard Rider-Waite tarot deck. It's just kind of like the standard deck that you'll probably find at like your local bookstore, kind of self-help area. It's just like the kind of standard deck that most people use. I have some nicer, more expensive ones, but I want to use ones that are more readily available for anyone if they are thinking of kind of getting into tarot. What I want to kind of start with is the misconception that getting your tarot cards read is telling your future. Tarot to me, and tarot to a lot of modern readers, isn't you going in, paying money, getting your future read, telling you you're gonna meet this tall dark stranger at this time, like blah blah blah. No. Tarot nowadays, what readers are really telling you about is it's unlocking your own mind to kind of look at your situations different ways. So yes, the answers are going to be very vague and frustrating, but it's kind of the point to be vague, because if it was too real, then you would know that the reading was fake, if you know what I mean, kind of. A good way to get kind of the answers that you do want, like to get accurate, specific, kind of transformative messages from your cards, you have to start with asking the right questions. I have kind of a criteria that I use myself when I'm doing my own readings or if I'm doing someone else's readings, and it's 4 kind of specific key things that I go through when I'm reading cards. So number 1 is to use the most specific language you can, narrowing down your intentions. For example, don't ask like, what job is good for me? What career path should I be taking? That's too specific. You need to generalize it a little more by making it specific to yourself. So asking, is X job or position the right option for better health and like healing for myself? But asking if the job that you're already thinking of is going to be right for yourself really makes it a more internal question. Number 2 would be to keep your questions self-focusing. Asking about others is like a form of prying, and in our community we don't kind of use these tools to put our own agenda on other people or try to control their thoughts and feelings. It's a pretty unethical kind of practice nowadays. Number 3 is to remember to ask time-specific questions instead of dwelling on kind of past things that could have been different. You kind of want to ask questions that are presently focused on you, so you can take action to build towards it in the future instead of the past. An example of what not to ask would be, how could this person betray me 10 years ago? not a question you're probably gonna get asked. That wasn't the greatest example. But what you should be asking is, what would be good to know about myself right now? Or what do I need to know about myself to go forward as a trusting, open, honest person in my next relationship? And lastly is a big one, and it's taking responsibility for yourself. Something we don't all love to hear because we don't love to take responsibility. We're young, we're free. It's asking questions that'll help you grow on your personal journey to self-discovery. So those are kind of like my 4 keys. What we need to remember about tarot cards is that we're having a discussion with our cards. We're not asking yes or no questions because we're using a bunch of different cards. So each card is going to have a different meaning. It's a more complex, multi-leveled answer that our cards are giving us. So we're not going to be asking, should I wear this dress tonight, yes or no? We should be asking questions more so, how will this dress make me feel if I wear it tonight compared to that pair of pants? So now that we have kind of the basics down, I'm not going to run through what each card in the tarot deck means because I don't want this video to be any longer than it already is or already has to be. What I'm going to do now is shuffle my cards. We're going to do a tarot spread for periods like right now for me personally when I'm feeling like frustrated and blocked on my next step, and I kind of want to read my cards to see kind of what my next step should be and what's keeping me from moving on to those steps. We're going to get started on my personal reading. So this right here is my tarot spread kind of map reader. So it kind of just like, it's supposed to like keep the energies in this and make it kind of more of a sacred reading place. It really doesn't matter if you're not into the whole spirituality that's behind these. So don't worry about that. We're gonna do a little shuffle first. It just kind of like gets you all loose, and that was awful. It's kind of gonna get your cards in the right place. Like, it's basically like when you're playing a card game. You just kind of want your cards to be all over the place and random, especially when you're reading your tarots, because it's really just about the energies that are around you. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. So this is a 6-card spread. I'm going to do it facing me because it's about me. So if you're reading this off the camera, do it the opposite way of how I'm doing it. So for example, this first card is at the top of what I'm looking at, but it's gonna be at the bottom of where you're looking because the camera's on the other end of it. So we do 1 card, 2 card, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so this is what we call a tarot spread. There are millions of different variations of tarots. There's official ones, there's ones that come in the tarot deck, but if you go on, say, forums or like Tumblr and just type in tarot spreads, hundreds will come up for you to do. It's like my favorite way ever. Before I start flipping over, which I know you're all waiting for, I'm kind of just gonna go through what each of these cards are supposed to represent. So remember, this card, this tarot spread is about feeling blocked or frustrated about our next steps, and this is kind of going to teach us how we can get past it. So number 1 is supposed to represent kind of the cork of your bottle, like what's keeping card number 5 trapped inside of you. 2 is what you need to keep an eye out for. It's the negative repercussions that this will give to you. 3 is the positives that's going to come from this being let into your light, so whatever you're working towards. 4 is what you should do to work on the negatives of card number 2 and how to move further through those negativities. Because we don't want to push out the negativities, we want to build through them. 5 is the central issue, so that's the thing that needs to be let out and into the light. It's what you've kind of been like bottling up, but needs to be brought out so you can work through it. And 6 is how the positives found in card 3 will inform and shape and improve your life. So without further ado, we're going to follow the numbers. So we're going to flip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to tell you the meaning of the card and how it's going to kind of relate to my life. So card number 1, and you always want to flip away from yourself. When you have a client, I like to flip kind of towards myself because as if I'm the client reading. So this is a card, my number 1, remember, is what's keeping card number 5 trapped. My first card is actually a card that I get a lot. This is the Nine of Wands. You're looking at it the opposite of what I'm looking at, remember. So to me, this card is upside down. It's reversed. It's fitting because the Nine of Wands reversed means inner resources, struggle, overwhelmed, defensive, and paranoid. He's ready to give it all up and he's kind of just ready to throw in the towel. It can also show up when you're overwhelmed and it doesn't feel like you have people around you who kind of like help you through this and build you back up. Like you have a lack of support around you. So we're gonna do number 2. Again, this is going to be reversed to me. So this is the Seven of Swords. So number 2 is what you need to keep an eye out for, the negative percussions that are going to like reveal it to you. So our Seven of Swords reversed again is really representing imposter syndrome, self-deceit, and keeping secrets. Interesting. Traditionally, the Seven of Swords kind of represents theft, betrayal, deception, trickery, all that cool stuff. And in respect to this card spread, 2 is saying that I need to keep an eye out for kind of deceitfulness, even if I'm putting it through. If I think I'm getting away with something, I'm probably not going to. So moving right along, 3. Cool, so 3 is upright to me. It's reversed to you now. And my upright card is the Chariot. So number 3 in our tarot is the positives that will come from you bringing out your now imposter syndrome, fraud, to light. So an upright Chariot card represents control, willpower, success, determination. So it's basically saying by bringing out your thoughts and feelings, for me personally, bringing up my thoughts and feelings of being an imposter or being a fraud is going to bring me success and determination, like a better determination to what I'm really working towards, which would mean talking to someone about it, a therapist, a friend, reaching out, or really kind of going into yourself and asking yourself, why do you feel like you're an imposter in these situations that are keeping you from realizing your true goal. On to number 4, reversed again, we have the Nine of Pentacles. And number 4 is what you should do to work on the negatives of card 2, our imposter syndrome card. So I have a reversed Nine of Pentacles. It represents self-worth, overinvestment in work, and like the general hustling kind of thing. What's cool about this combination, number 4 being what I need to work on to overcome number 2, is the reversed Nine of Pentacles. When it comes up in your reading, it represents the opportunity to reflect on your own sense of self-worth and value. By having this card in relation to this card is to work on my imposter syndrome and feeling like I'm doing what I shouldn't be doing. I need to take a step back and reflect on who I really am as a person inside and my values towards this and what I'm going to do to work to stop it. Like I'm saying, it's all adding up. It sounds pretty spooky and I love it. It's so cool. With that being said, we're going to go on to number 5, which is the central issue. This card is going to tell me what has been keeping me frustrated and bottled up and needs to be brought out so I can really work on it. Terrifying. My 5th card is Judgment Reversed. Judgment Reversed is representative of self-doubt, your inner critic, and ignoring the call to action. So it's really calling in with the whole theme of what's going on right now about feeling like it's too much, having self-doubt and imposter syndrome, bringing it out to the front to work on it, going inside yourself to really realize who you are as a person and what you value, and the issue being yourself. And by bringing this issue out to light, it's again talking to your friends, talking to someone about it, talking to your family about it, bringing this issue out into the light. I can now start working through it. finding the reason why I have such self-doubt, why I feel this way. And so our last card, number 6, is how the positives in card 3, the Chariot, will inform and shape and improve my life in this moment. Card number 6 is a reversed 5 of Cups. The 5 of Cups is not my favorite card. It even looks ooky spooky. This person looks like complete death. But reversed, it's actually a really good card because reversed, it represents personal setbacks, self-forgiveness, and moving on, which I absolutely love in the context of this spread, because it's basically saying that even though it feels like my imposter syndrome is taking over my life and it's really hard to be working through it, like these 2 cards are kind of saying, this last one is saying that it's okay and I need to forgive myself, that in this moment it's really hard to work towards it and find ways of dealing with this situation. So this card often turns up in your spread in situations where what you are doing hasn't really gone the way you thought it would, and you're sad and regretful and disappointed because of that. Instead of moving on with your life, you're focusing on self-pity and wallowing in this like doubt, which is kind of representative of this like figure right here with his head down. It's suggesting that you're stuck in the past and you're finding it hard to let go, which is exactly what the Judgment was kind of telling us earlier on. What's vital in this card is forgiveness. So like I was saying, forgiving yourself because of that. So that's this spread, and I'm actually really happy with the results of it because it's really shown me that a lot of the setbacks that are happening right now in my life is a personal blockage that I need to work on, and by putting in hard work and discipline, like the Chariot suggests, I will get over it at some point. That is your first or second or 100th introduction to tarot reading. I hope what you've learned is tarot isn't a magical, unattainable, one-stop, fake card game that's going to tell you your future and who your husband is going to be and the answers to your pop quiz next week. But tarot is a tool to use to reflect your inner kind of thoughts and feelings, and it shows you ways to think that you might not have been thinking about to get through these situations. And a great lesson that tarot teaches you is to not shy away from the negative cards, the negative feelings. It's to work through them and find meaningful ways behind what the cards are saying and kind of use that towards your own growth in whatever you're asking of the cards, like in your life kind of thing. I had a great time. Thanks for joining me reading my tarot today. I know this video it's gonna be long, but I really wanted to get kind of the background tarot, and I really wanted to show you what it's like in practice. A lot of my friends love the idea of tarot, but they don't know how to do it, and they're kind of hesitant to. So I want to make it kind of like accessible to like people my age that are really looking to get into it. And I just think it's fun. Like, it's a fun thing to do at a party when you just like take out some cards and you can do a quick like 1-card reading. It's so easy and simple as long as you know the basics. I put out new videos every Thursday, so thanks for joining me this Thursday. Thanks for watching my last video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And make sure to like this video, subscribe, tell me what your favorite tarot card is in the comments below, and follow all my social media links down below. I will see you next Thursday. I love y'all. Be nice to yourself, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.